have everyone here. Oh, we've got so many people coming in the chat. Thank you guys for being so interactive. This is amazing. The chat is just flying by here. Excellent. We've got Davidson, we've got Harriet, Catherine, Rachel. Wonderful. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you here too much. We have Peter here, so let me just go ahead and introduce you to Peter Sage. Today you're going to get the amazing Peter Sage. He is a master of the personal development world. He has transformed tens of thousands of lives from people all over the world. And he trained with the legendary Tony Robbins for more than 15 years. And Peter has an amazing, down-to-earth approach that will really take your journey of self-discovery to the next level. So you're going to be having these amazing aha moments, these amazing insights. That's why it's so important to have that journal so you can write those down. And he's the number one personal development teacher for real success because of his commitment to transformational work, to working with people at all levels, no matter where they are in their life, and to help them to take their own self-development, their own personal expression, and their own consciousness to that next level. He's helped people all over the world to overcome things like trauma, depression, lack of confidence, and to really be able to remove some of their own financial blockages, the blockages in their life that have been stopping them. So without further ado, go ahead, please put some love in the chat for the one, the only, Peter Sage.
My goodness, Marcy, thank you for an amazing introduction. Always an absolute pleasure to be here for the Real Success team. And I want to say thank you to you guys that have showed up. And I think I mentioned it when I was on last week before just the summit started. We had a lot of people register for this, but it always shakes out about the same. We have about half the people that register show up. And why is that? Can somebody tell me why that is? In between those two moments of excitement, you've had lots of other emotions as well, because that's part of being human. But you're still here. And I want to say thank you for that. I'm not going to take it lightly. And we're going to have quite a blast over the next 90 minutes to 2 hours. I'll let you budget whatever you can to stay here, because I've got some real cool insights to go through with you. How was your summit, by the way, guys? Give me some feedback on that. How many people here took some action on that, or chose to follow one of the other mentors or teachers onto a new opportunity? There's a lot of exciting things that come out of attending summits that really make a difference for a lot of people. And if that's you, then you're definitely going to want to pay attention today. Before we do that, I want to just share with you my screen and just make sure that I've got everything up here. There we go. The non-technical tech guy. Right, guys, just do me a favor. Let me know if you can see my screen. Because if you can, it should say Secrets to Self-Mastery. How to finally stop sneezing. Bless me. Oh my goodness, I am so blessed. I've got the air conditioning on here, it's a little tearing. It's looking hot outside, so I've got it on sub-zero in here at the moment. So, anyway, that was my one and only sneeze allowed. Just to let you know we are alive. Then how to finally end procrastination and self-sabotage, procrastination and sneezing while unleashing your potential, tripling your results in half the time, exploding your income. If that sounds like something that you like, then I guess you're in the right place. And the reason that I'm excited today is this is one of our most powerful sessions that we run. And yeah, I'm excited because this masterclass has changed the lives of so many different people, and I'm going to run through exactly what you need to know to really get through what it is I'm going to make some promises on. Now, again, we're running this live, so I can see that you're here. If you do miss this and you're watching it after the live on a replay, then even when you're on the replay, you guys today, but the replay, type in replay so that I'm please get your commitment to getting involved. So I'm going to put the energy here and play full out. I can tell the people on here today that are live are playing full out. So we've got some incredible things to cover for you today, guys. And let's have a look. Please, let's start with something that's relevant to you. There you go. How do I know this is for me? Again, we want to have some quality questions. Time is exceptionally valuable, and I want to make sure this is for you. Right? You're not on the replay. Stop typing replay. This is live, right? The live people are watching. I've got people typing replay on a live webinar. Guys, it's all good. Yes, today is Wednesday, and we are all in play. So, how do you know if it's for me? Well, the good news, guys, is this class today has been strategically designed to solve a very specific problem, a specific kind of person. So I do want to see if it is you, because if it isn't, then kind of save time now. You can log off and get on with your life or do what you were doing. But if it is for you, you're definitely going to want to clear distractions and stay with me and run right through. Because this masterclass is for anyone who is looking to achieve more, but you kind of seem to be stuck in that holding pattern of income or success. Maybe you're a feast-famine kind of person that has bursts of success and then there's like tumbleweed in the bank account for weeks or months on end and you don't sustain it. Or anyone who has procrastinated and self-sabotaged and you've not only wondered why, you actually want to know how to finally break free of it. Or, and this is a big bugbear, I shared it with you last week, I'll share it again. It concerns the personal growth industry. If you've ever spent money on online courses, attended workshops, read books, you've put in the time and effort, you've done your part of the bargain, you still didn't get your big goals or get the lasting change that was promised. But if any of that resonates, this is going to be your class, I promise you. Because in a packed session, we are going to learn some incredible stuff. I'm going to show you exactly how you can become much more effective, profitable, and fulfilled and generate more income in less time with less struggle, or OPD. Who knows what OPD is? Anyone up for that? Let me have a little look in the chat while I grab one of my fresh juices. I just make it. And if I end up with it's carrot, apple, celery, beet, ginger, it goes beet red. If I end up with a beet moustache, then hey, it just means I'm smiling at you. Okay. So, let me have a little look. OPD, yes, other people's drama. Give me a yes in the chat if you time that one. Yeah, there we go. Now, I'm also going to teach you how to stop getting in your own way and really stop unconsciously sabotaging your own success and growth. And we're also going to uncover one of the main blocks to financial freedom that you will never solve. Please listen to me, guys, because some of you are burning out doing this. You are never going to solve your financial freedom issue by working harder. Right? You've already been trying that. Now, in fact, I'm going to guarantee that by the time we finish today, you're going to learn aspects of success, personal growth. Most people will go to their grave not knowing. No matter what courses you buy, what books you read, you're also going to find out the real reason why people fail and why it's predictable unless you apply what you're about to learn. And lastly, one of the most beneficial reasons for you to be on the training today, you're finally going to realize, guys, why, pay attention, over 95% of the money that you spend in self-help is never going to produce the result you're looking for. Sorry, you're going to understand that by the end of today. I'm not just pulling figures out of my ass here. I'm going to demonstrate. You'll understand. You're like, oh my God, now I know why. And that alone is going to save you a fortune. Because let's be honest, you've probably already tried several things that haven't produced the results that you want. Am I right? So, let me share with you a better way on how to get what it is you want. So I've got a firm promise I want to make to you guys today. And that is that by the end of this session, you're going to learn a powerful 5-step formula that will conquer self-doubt, reduce stress, guarantee more financial abundance, and show you how to finally get any goal that you set in minimum time. Now, you're also going to learn what stops you, and that is going to blow your mind. Now, there's something I want to say up front. As you know, there's a lot of these web classes around. I know this isn't your first. As one of my mentors said, talk is cheap and time is valuable. So I do want to make sure I respect yours today by having you hold me accountable when I say that this will be one of the best, if not the best, most eye-opening web classes you will ever experience. Big claim. But I'm not going to hold anything back. You're going to learn immediately applicable, fast, smart, easy ways to get where you want. And at the end, if I serve you and I blow your mind, and only if I've blown your mind, I'm going to do a quick share on some further resources that may help you read more. Does that sound fair? And let me know you're cool with that by typing a quick yes in the chat. I want to keep this interactive. And guys, I'm not here to try to bait and switch. That's not my style. Now, there are things at the end of this that for some of you, even though I'm going to give you everything you need, some people would like a done-for-you system, not because they're lazy, they just want to move faster. And I've got something available which I'm going to give you a killer rate. But I don't want you to worry about that. I want you to worry about the fact that you and I, over the next 90 minutes, are going to focus on, if you never hear from me again, you never come across my work again, you never see me again, you will have an amazing level of understanding and tool set to walk away with today that's going to make a difference in your life to achieve what I promised. Does that sound fair? Okay? Now, and as a surprise, and as a big thank you for keeping your commitment and staying to the end, I also have a special gift. I'm going to be leaving with you on how to easily understand and break negative habits. Does that sound like something that may be useful? As I said, talk is cheap. So let me deliver on you on my side with not just a great training, but some special gifts and surprises for you as well. The only thing I'm going to ask on your side, guys, is please stay to the end. That's a big reason for that. I want to start training and rewarding your brain for making better decisions and sticking with your commitments. So we may as well start now. Remember, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you can't honor a simple commitment to yourself to cross the finish line on a training you clearly want to learn from, especially one that's going to show you how to outgrow patterns of distraction, then you may as well quit now. But I know you didn't come in today to demonstrate being a failure at that. You came to win. So can I please have your agreement that for this training you're going to stay with me to the end? Because if you do, you're going to not only get an amazingly powerful training, some special free gifts like the one below, plus some other surprise bonuses I'm excited to reveal. I will do a live Q&A at the end just to help out with the other things that are coming up for you that I can help you with. And by the way, I'm also going to send you all a full copy of the slides from today too. How does that sound? Now, I also want to manage your expectations. So before we begin, 4 quick little house rules I want to go over. First, this is not a magic pill. Anyone that says it is, run. Now, it can work like one, but it does require you to shift gears in a way you may not have done before. Secondly, this is not a work harder, get more done. I told you that never solves the problem. This is a work smarter strategy. Third, synergy is your friend. Yes, you're about to learn 5 incredibly powerful concepts, each of which can help you transform. When you combine these together, boom, the effect is exponential. And finally, please play with me today, guys. Let's keep this light. I know I'm trying to speak a little fast. I get excited when I speak fast. If I get too fast, put something in the chat. And yeah, if not, try to listen as quickly as you can. But I want you to capture and share what I call your bingo moments, those ahas, those wows, or OMGs, the ones that blow your mind. Because if you do, not only does it show me you're being interactive, but it's going to make your brain pay more attention and help avoid patterns of distraction. Again, you don't have to waste time trying to copy what's on the slides. I'm going to give you all of the slides if you stay to the end. So instead, please invest the same time to write down what you learned as it relates to you. Does that make sense? Okay, but before we get into all the good stuff, let me check in with you, see where you're at. And again, be honest with me here, guys. Be honest with yourself. Does this sound like you? And if it does, type it in. If it doesn't, no big deal. You're putting in the effort. You kind of seem stuck at the same level. And that may show up as things like trying different opportunities, but always making the same kind of money. Or having the same relationship, but with different people. Or how about you find yourself procrastinating, meaning that you know what to do, you're just not doing what you know. And instead you become an expert in the art of distraction, also known as being busy but unsuccessful. How many people have experienced that feeling? And are you watching other people reach their goals and you think, hang on a minute, what are they doing that I'm not? They're not smarter than me. Yeah. Is this resonating? Type yes if you agree. Or how about you start doing really well, but for some reason you kind of begin to self-sabotage and then you become your own worst enemy? Or do you ever have that little voice of self-doubt that starts to question if you're good enough or if you've really got what it takes? And guys, you're going to know exactly where that voice comes from and why by the end of this training. And have you tried different approaches and coaches and going from one shiny object to the next, hoping things are going to change, but it just seems like Groundhog Day? And ultimately, and this was a big one for me, you secretly fear that despite all your hard work and effort, the main difference in your life 10 years from now is just going to be the number of candles on the cake. Still resonating? Well, if any of that sounds like you, I have some great news. none of those are the actual real problem, which is why people trying to solve those problems usually end up with more of them. You see, the real problem is you haven't made like all the ships. Now we're going to talk about what they are in a second, but please know this. Once you make these 5 shifts, you will instantly start to feel more purpose-driven and inspired. Your entire relationship to money is going to get upgraded. You'll start to see much more of it showing up. You'll now be able to set goals with certainty of knowing that you can and will follow through no matter what life throws at you. You'll be able to totally eradicate self-sabotage and procrastination so you can succeed faster without getting in your own way, and you'll be able to show up as what I call being unapologetically authentic, and in a way that people are going to trust you more, so you'll be able to feel that integrity. And you're going to be able to start walking with a different air of confidence and energy that people who know you will comment on. Now, that's what I want to bring to the table for you guys in less than an hour or so. But before we go much further, I did notice on the last time I spoke to you guys just under a week ago, 80% of you have never heard of me before. So I know I've got a great introduction. I appreciate Marcy for that. But before we go much further, let me just take 2 seconds to introduce myself and tell, especially you left-brainers that are looking at me now like, this sounds all too good to be true, who I am and why I'm qualified to give you this class. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to be sat on the fence, yeah, looking for holes in the donut. My name's Peter Sage. As you know, I'm pretty honoured to say that I'm now recognised as one of the most sought-after experts on personal and lasting transformation in the world. I've built a large global following. I worked, as you heard, with Tony for over 15 years as a high-level trainer, intervention specialist. I've spoken in over 60 countries. I've shared the stage with people like Richard Branson, US presidents, Nobel Prize winners, all that kind of stuff. I'm also an international, multiple #1 best-selling author on human behavior. I've got books published in several languages all over the world. And more importantly for you guys, today, I can quite hand on heart say, I am not one of those people who have become successful by selling stuff to other people on how to be successful. You know what I'm talking about? Which, in all fairness, forget the language, is bullshit. But that kind of thing takes advantage of other people most of the time rather than helps them, and that's not what I'm about. No, I'm very happy to say I'm an award-winning entrepreneur in my own right. I've made millions more in business than I probably ever will selling books. I do what I do here, so I get emails and messages every single day from people whose lives have changed because they made the 5 shifts that you're about to learn. And I am way more passionate about helping others discover that than I am buying another Ferrari or whatever. So let me share with you the 1-minute version of how I discovered these shifts, because if you're going to get the most out of today, I want you to have some context. Context is definitive. You can write that one in your eyelids. I wasn't taught this in school, and I'm pretty sure you weren't either. Just like the great Jim Rohn said, formal education can help you make a living. Doubtful as well these days. But self-education like this will make you a fortune. And for me, I remember it clear as day. Started when I was in the gym. It was in my early 20s. I just finished my workout. I just ordered a protein shake at the bar when the guy standing next to me started chatting. And as usual, people like to talk about their favourite subject, which is what, everybody? Come on. Themselves. And not only that, but usually the favourite part of their favourite subject, especially in the last 2 years, which is what? Everything that sucks about their life. Now at this point, even though I was in my early 20s, I'd been studying self-education for 5 years. I was already a millionaire. I knew immediately how to solve the guy's problems. So I went on to give him strategies for turning his life around and setting goals and creating income streams. I was on fire. And because I was enthusiastic, he became enthusiastic. Ladies, listen to me. Stop buying creams and makeup. The most beneficial and cheapest cosmetic in the world is enthusiasm. I promise you. Right? And I remember at the end of our conversation, I recommended him a book. In fact, it was a classic Think and Grow Rich. And he became a happy camper. I left feeling proud that I'd helped somebody turn their life around. And a couple of weeks later, I saw him again in the gym, and I went up to him and I said, hey, how's it going? How are you getting on with the book? Can anybody guess what he said? Because it deflated the hell out of me. He said, oh yeah, that book, what was it called again? And I'm like, I don't get it. I gave him the gold. I was confused. Do you know why I was confused? Because back then, I just couldn't understand why some people are more committed to keeping their problems than outgrowing them. Do you know any anyone that's actually quite happy being unhappy. There's a few of them about, and guess what? If you solve the reason they're unhappy, they're going to find something else to be unhappy about. If someone's committed to being angry, and the person they're mad at dies, they're going to find somebody else to be angry about. Have you noticed that? This is the difference between self-mastery and people that can't figure out emotional maturity. And it was that exchange in the gym that really led me to discover the first of the 5 shifts that you're about to learn. And over the last 2.5 decades, nearly 3 decades to be fair, I've made it my mission to master behavior. One part very few people talk about. They'll sell you courses on making money, or sell you advice on how to be a business owner, and they'll sell you some how-to, this, that, the other, all knowledge-based. But nobody talks about the real deal. Why is it that so many people with so many advantages fail flat, and why some against all the odds create magic? And the formula you're about to discover right now is the result of everything I've learned, I've tested, I've refined it, I've tested it again and again. I don't kind of hope this is going to work for you guys. I don't need the proof from you, from thousands of other people. It's an absolute certainty that this formula works 100% of the time. Yes, it's like gravity. Just take a day off. And again, I'm not here to convince you, nor am I going to ask you to believe this, and I certainly won't ask you to assume that it's true. I'm not into that. I want you to test it and let the results speak for themselves. And send me a message, because that's when you'll own it for yourself and you'll know the power. And the good news is, we're going to go through all 5 of them right now. So, are you still with me? Are you on point? Is your energy still high? Do you want to see me get a red moustache? Marvelous. There you go. So, shift number 1. Let's get to it. Shift my learning focus from knowledge mastery to self-mastery. What do I really mean by that? See, right now the personal growth industry is thriving on selling online education and courses which promise about everything. People are busy learning new skills, finding the next big thing. They're studying for hours a day. They're sucking up screen time, trying to acquire the knowledge they think will take them to the next level. And you may say, well, that's a good thing, right? No, it isn't. And let me tell you why. Firstly, generally, only 20% of what you're being sold is going to be classed as useful. The rest is pretty much padding to make it look more substantial or justify the price. Second, most of the information we try to learn these days is already outdated by the time we go to apply it. And if not, soon will be, just by the nature of how fast things are moving. And that's what I love about Real Success. They bring in the cutting edge, latest, up-to-date teachers that are making it happen in the market now, not regurgitating some stuff that worked 5 years ago, but now is out of date and you're going to come unstuck with it. But the biggest problem with trying to cram yourself with knowledge is that it quickly becomes overwhelming. Anyone register? And the emotional path of overwhelm is this. Overwhelm leads to confusion, which leads to inaction. In other words, a lot of the time people learn so much, they do nothing. Which is why the big lie in self-help is this. Over 90%, ladies and gentlemen, of courses that people buy, yeah, you look at your own history for this, never get completed. But instead they become what I call DFL, or data for later, which more often than not in a busy world means never. Now that's like actually spending money on a car you're never going to drive. Sound good? You know, want to pay for a holiday you're never going to take? No. But while much of what I've shared can easily be verified by your own experience, the absolute number one reason why knowledge mastery is the wrong focus is it doesn't address the one thing that is responsible for applying the knowledge. Guess what that is, ladies and gentlemen? You! You see, all behavior is preceded by thought. Thoughts are habitual, and unless you know how to master yourself and your thinking and your emotions, nothing's going to change. See, anybody can buy a gym membership, but I got news for you. Gyms don't get you fit. Showing up and hitting the treadmill on a consistent basis is what gets you fit. But first, you've got to get past the excuses that an untrained mind is going to give you when you're tired, when you're busy, when you're not in the mood. And that is why emotional fitness is way more important to work on first than physical fitness. In short, the first big takeaway for you today, that you're going to want to remember, tattoo on the inside of your eyelids. You're going to need a lot of room there, I promise. And there's going to be many more, is this. Focusing on knowledge mastery will keep you smart, busy, and broke. You guys getting this? Give me some feedback in the chat if this is making sense. Because I'm also going to show you why you already know enough to get whatever goal it is you set. It's just not working because you were getting in your own way. And if you think that a course, a book, a seminar, the next new shiny object is going to help you get past that, tell me it's not. Not unless it's focused on self-mastery. Because this changes everything. What specifically do you need to address? What is it that stops most people from mastering this? Glad you asked. That's what the next 4 shifts are going to show you. So, let's go to shift number 2. Release my subconscious brakes. See, subconscious brakes are success enemy number 1, and it's pretty easy to spot if you suffer from them. I mean, have you ever put off something important that you had to do, even though you knew how to do it, and then afterwards you thought, why did I do that? And you can't give a logical answer because it doesn't make any logical sense. Well, I've got news. Most people spin their wheels this way their entire life because they have their conscious mind on the gas and a much bigger subconscious on the brake, especially when it comes to money. So let's drill down and find out why. Quick and easy lesson in neuroscience. Now, for those that saw the TED Talk that I did, that we sent out, this will be some good refresher, but I'm going to go a little deeper. This is our brain. And if it had a CEO, Chief Executive Officer, it'd be this part in red, the crowning achievement of human biology, also known as the neocortex. This is what's responsible for critical and intelligent thinking. Now, what's interesting about the brain is that it operates at different frequencies, depending on what state you're in. In fact, throughout history, one of the hallmarks of a genius is their ability to control their brain frequencies at will, allowing them to enter states like accelerated learning, super focus, or incredible creativity, or even instant relaxation. How many people would like that? Now, when it comes to your brain and my brain, our neocortex operates mainly at a frequency known as beta, or 12 to 18 cycles per second. But what's interesting is that the ability to use beta doesn't get turned on until we're about 7 years old. That's when we experience kind of a brain puberty. Now, before that, we operate mainly in theta, which is around 4 to 7 cycles per second, and it's also where we dream. Now, when we dream, we generally accept information without questioning it. For example, if we see a deceased relative, we don't say, that's Uncle Fred. He died 5 years ago. What's he doing here? Oh, I know, it must be a dream. No, we don't question Uncle Fred or why he's there, because our neocortex doesn't operate down at theta, so we keep dreaming and accepting without a question virtually everything that happens. Now, how is this connected to the fact that most people, unfortunately, don't achieve the success they want, no matter how hard they work? Well, let me share a scenario with you. It's going to become crystal clear. Let's say it's Dad's turn to take the kids shopping, and that day, Dad happens to be frustrated. He's dealing with problems at work and trying to figure out how he's going to pay the credit card that month and a million other things. And as he's going down the aisle, little 6-year-old Johnny in the car spots a toy. He says, hey, Daddy, can I have a toy? Now, Daddy's not thinking about toys. He's still juggling finances in his head. And he responds, no toys today. But, as every parent knows, kids are masters of persistence, have you noticed? And so Johnny says, oh, please, Daddy, please, I really want a toy. Can I have a toy? I just want a toy. And he starts bugging Dad. And in his frustration, Dad snaps at the child and says, no, listen, you can't have a toy. You've not been good enough. You don't deserve one. And he goes back to his big world problems, thinking that will keep him quiet. But something significant is now happening to little Johnny, ladies and gentlemen. You see, Johnny doesn't live in a world of credit card debt. He just sees the toy and he wants the toy. But nor does he live in a world of critical thinking. All he hears is, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it. Now, if he was 8 or 9 years old, he would have had access to the front of his brain, and at which point accepts unconditionally the fact that he's not good enough, that he's undeserving, and spends the rest of his life living up to, or more accurately down to, his own expectations. This has now been proven in study after study to be one of the greatest hidden causes of self-sabotage and financial blocks later in life. Why? Because our outer world actions follow our inner world programming, regardless of how smart or intelligent the front part of our brain is. So let me explain it one final way before we move on, because if you're serious about creating lasting change in your life and more abundance, it's critical to understand this. So think of it this way. Your conscious mind, the neocortex, is like an ant. Here he is, cute little guy, hardworking, industrious, he's able to solve problems, work as a team, make smart decisions. In fact, I know this ant personally. His name is Ant. And last week, he went to a personal growth seminar, an online summit for ants, where he bought some new courses. He even hired an ant coach that specializes in how to become a more successful ant. And he made some new plans. He's put a vision board together, and he's now working hard, proudly walking north towards his new goals. The problem, my friends, is that your little ant is walking across the back of a very large elephant, your subconscious programming that is marching south. And no amount of motivation, goals, or trying to learn new knowledge is going to shift that. Now, there's a powerful way to do it, and we're going to cover it in shift number 4. But what I'm revealing here now is the number 1 law in personal growth. So again, please, more tattoos on your eyelids. You can never rise above the opinion of yourself, no matter how hard you work. Now just reflect for a moment based upon what resonated earlier and realize how frustrating it is to be trapped in a life where you didn't actually know that. Please remember, this is not the opinion of your ant at the front of your brain. That is always going to say in a loud voice that you deserve the better body or the relationship or the new house or all that kind of stuff. I mean, nobody wakes up deliberately and says, hey, I know what would be fun. Let's procrastinate, sabotage my potential, and screw up my life today. No. And this is why failure is not linked to intelligence. Which is why more knowledge mastery ain't gonna help. Instead, it's linked to something much deeper, something nobody's talking about. Because most people just don't understand the biology of it. And that brings us to our 3rd shift, which really is the secret weapon of the self-mastery. Are you still with me? Do you want to know what it is? Have I got some energy in the room here, guys? Everybody feeling good here? Give me some feedback. Yeah, if you try to stir the dinner with your feet while listening to your voice message while putting one ear on the computer, that's not how to play this game. And what I need here is some attention, because this is going to be a good rocker for you guys. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Good stuff. So, shift number 3. Breaking cell inertia. There we go. We can all go home. Problem solved. Breaking what? What you're about to discover is the answer why most people stay stuck at the same level of success. And this is all based on the latest science and discoveries in neurobiology, but it's the missing piece of personal growth. See, neurobiologists are not human behavior specialists. They're neurobiologists. Entrepreneurs, business owners, the average guy and girl in the street like you and I. We're not neurobiologists and we're not human behavior experts for the most part. We're just trying to get along in life. So if you can see why the information's out there, but it's never been joined the way that you're about to understand it. And it starts with understanding an inescapable law known as law of conformity, which in simple terms states environment beats will. In other words, you are hardwired to adapt to your environment. Now, this becomes obvious if we take a health example. We all know that if you put your body in the gym, you're going to get some biceps, guys. Whereas if you put it in McDonald's, you're going to get some triceps. You see, your body doesn't care which environment you put it in. Its job is not to question. Its job is to adapt to the one that you choose. And while you can have all the willpower in the world to grow your biceps while you're munching cheeseburger every day, the law says environment beats will. Now, the gym versus McDonald's example, not exactly rocket science. But here's what most people don't know. You have around 50 trillion cells in your body, give or take, and every single one of them is governed by the same law, meaning they are programmed to adapt to their environment. Now, on the outer surface of your cells, you have what's called receptor sites, and their job is to monitor the biochemical environment and feed that information back to the cell so it can adapt accordingly. Again, I'll use an easy example for you guys. Any coffee drinkers in the house? Any double latte, coffee, macchiato, latte, espresso, whatever it is, right? But any coffee drinkers in the house, their ears just pricked up. And if so, I can already tell you that your cells have already adjusted to a biochemistry that is produced by high amounts of coffee. Now, if you don't drink coffee, they won't. That's why you can take somebody who has never drank coffee, give them a double espresso, and what happens? You're peering around the door, watching them backflip up the stairs. It's fun to watch. Whereas you can take a heavy coffee drinker, and I know who some of you are, you can have an espresso after dinner or even before bedtime and still be able to sleep. Blows my mind. It's the same for people who move, let's say, from a hot country to a cold country. I used to live in Dubai, I moved back to England, everybody's walking around in t-shirts, I'm in ski wear, right? We're going to feel it more than the locals until our body adapts, or what we call acclimatizes. Is this making sense? I hope so. Now, you may say, okay, Pete, I get that. So what? Here's where it gets interesting. Because when it comes to our brain, every single thought we think produces a chemical, either a neurotransmitter, a neuropeptide, or a hormone, all of which changes the body's internal chemistry that your cells are living in. So, sticking with the weather metaphor, I want you to imagine that your thoughts are creating the inner weather that your cells are constantly acclimatizing to. So, let's say that you think happy, positive, upbeat thoughts, and this creates lovely warm climate for your cells to sunbathe in. And that weather is made up of chemicals such as dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin and various types of endorphins which flood the bloodstream with biochemical sunshine. With me so far? Good. Now, here's a question. If your cells are acclimatized to a warm, sunny environment like me in Dubai, what kind of clothes do you think they're wearing, metaphorically? Well, most likely swimsuits and sunglasses and bikinis, budgie smugglers, I don't know, well maybe not those, but you get the idea. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's say you're more prone to thinking negative thoughts or have any kind of stress or fear or anxiety. Well, those kind of thoughts produce things like cortisol and adrenaline and other stress-inducing hormones that create a very different kind of weather that your cells are acclimatized to. Think of it as rainy, cold, and grey, pretty much like England in summer, which means that instead of swimsuits, these cells are wearing the chemical equivalent of hats, scarves, and coats and gloves. Please tell me this is making sense, because I want you to hold that thought as we reveal the other half of the puzzle, another important and inescapable law, also known as Newton's first law, the law of inertia, which states that objects in motion tend to stay in motion until acted upon by a greater force. Now that sounds a bit physics, so let me translate it into simple terms for you and I, as it relates to outgrowing old or negative behaviors. Change is hard, because it's always easier to be where you are. You are programmed biochemically to conserve calories because evolutionarily we didn't know where the next ones were coming from. Our ancestors weren't suffering from obesity. And you get the idea. Now, how does this tie in? What I'm about to share with you is critical information. So please, stop stirring the soup with your feet. Stop splitting your focus and pay attention, because if you understand the answer to this next question, it'll be life-changing for you. And you'll finally understand something most people will go to their grave being totally unaware of. And instead, you're going to keep wasting time, effort, and money on things that won't help you, won't serve you, won't have any lasting impact. I'll come to the question in a second. But first, let's say, like most people who are honest with themselves, You know deep down you're capable of more than what you're currently worth. But you're settling for more. But the main difference between last year and this year is that good old one more cake on the camel, yay. Which, by the way, if that's you, it virtually guarantees your ant and your elephant are walking in opposite directions. But then something shifts. You go to an event, an online summit, you read a book, or I don't know, maybe it's January the 1st and you're sick and tired of living below your potential, and you say, you know what? I'm gonna change. This year will be different. And you're serious. You change your diet, you set your goals, and all of a sudden, you're putting in new thinking, which is now sending sunshine into the bloodstream instead of snow. Are you with me still? Okay. So far, so good. But due to past conditioning, your cells are still wearing hats and coats and gloves. And this then creates the same circumstances most of us spend our entire life cycling through again and again and again between the new sunny chemicals of the thinking mind that lead to the new and lasting change you want versus the cold adaptive cells that keep you stuck with more of the same. The important question, the multi-million-dollar question, is which future wins? I can pretty much guarantee the answer to that by asking another simple question. And for some of you, this is where it's all going to start to make sense. Because when it comes to the law of inertia, is it easier for 50 trillion cells to change their wardrobe, or for you to just change your mind? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's not only easier, your cells are biologically programmed to turn around and say, wow, hang on a minute, we're all wrapped up for winter down here and you want us to go out to Walmart and buy swimsuits and shades. Do you have any idea how many calories that's going to take? No. See, we've had a meeting and we've decided that it's just way easier for you to give us back some stuff. In fact, we could kind of do with a blizzard down here as we're starting to sweat with all this new positive habits you're trying to form. Now, obviously I'm using weather as a metaphor here, but the actual messages produced by your cells are exceptionally real. And they're sent either chemically via the hypothalamus or they're sent electrically through the nerve pathways of the spinal column directly into the brain. And how this shows up in real life is you start to have negative self-talk, creeping self-doubt, procrastination. You start to become more pessimistic than optimistic about whether this change is going to last. And eventually, you're going to start self-sabotaging until the forecast is no longer predicting summer and you feel like you're heading back into winter. Tell me if you're getting this, guys. I mean, is anybody familiar with this pattern? I certainly was. And it felt like I was running the 100-meter hurdles of life that never ends. Why? Because I'd work hard to jump the 3 hurdles, but then I'd run back to the start to try again. Now that's like losing 30 pounds on a diet, which, by the way, most people have. Did you know that? It's just the same 3 pounds that they've lost 10 times. I mean, talk about Groundhog Day. Guess what? There's actually some great news in all of this. In fact, I'm going to show you now that what you just learned is, in fact, a reason to celebrate. Why? Allow me to spell it out. For some of you, this is going to be one of the biggest reasons you came today. The reason you haven't succeeded at the level that you want yet isn't because you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, or you're just unlucky, or you haven't learned enough skills or knowledge mastery. It's none of that bullshit, so stop telling yourself stories that buy into it. No, it's not you. You are amazing. You're capable. You're worthy of success. It's just that your body has been waging biochemical warfare against that potential. Not on purpose, not because it hates you. It's just your cell inertia caused by past conditioned thinking. In case you didn't just get the significance of that, let me reiterate it. One of the primary ripple effects of understanding what I just said is that you now get to pardon yourself, forgive yourself, stop beating yourself up, whatever you want to call it, right? In any way, for all of your previous so-called failures. You can finally stop blaming yourself for not sticking to something or following through on something because you mistakenly thought you weren't good enough, you weren't smart enough, you didn't have the discipline or the power or the energy to stick with something. Do you get how powerful that is? In that's all you took away from today, some of you will finally let go of a low self-esteem, low self-image, and low core beliefs around what you're able to be capable of when it wasn't you in the first place. It was your evolutionary programming that was telling your cells to give you more of the same rather than change your habits. And as environment beats world, most people don't surround themselves with people who come from possibility thinking. People that look at life through, how I can, not most people, which is why I can't. So, if you didn't grow up in that environment, your cells aren't programmed for that environment, and every time you try to change it, they are winning the war because you don't understand it, and now you're identifying your whole sense of self, your identity, with the failure, and now you don't even want to try again, or you have a low self-opinion, and as I've already stated, people never rise above the opinion of themselves. Is this making sense? And do you know how much energy is wasted on guilt and poor self-esteem as a result of not knowing this? I mean, how many unconscious negative beliefs keep getting reinforced, put you back on that hamster wheel of mediocrity? And it's also why the Buddha, who, let's be honest, he knew a thing or two about self-mastery apparently, said emphatically, if you want to fly, first give up everything that weighs you down. You see, my friends, some of you have been trying to fly with ankle weights while blaming your wings. But I'm telling you, if you make some smart decisions today, you can change them. But it starts with realizing that self-mastery begins not with discipline, intelligence, willpower, more books to read, more courses to buy, any of that crap. Wrong rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. Instead, it simply starts with self-mastery. And by the way, I had to include this image. That is a grass cell under a microscope, unaltered, no Photoshop. Yes, this is actually what grass cells look like. How cool is that? And why are grass cells so happy? Pretty obvious. They already know it's not green up on the other side. Okay, no more bad jokes. But you get the idea. I'm trying to make this fun, interactive versus serious subject here, guys. But I also don't want to keep this theory. I want to make it real, very real. So let me share a quick case study with you to show you how powerful you can become when you get this right. Now, some of you may be familiar with the story of how I ended up as the only non-criminal in Pentonville, which is Britain's most violent prison, having never even been arrested or accused of a crime. If not, you can check out another one of my TED Talks online where I cover it, but let me give you the 60-second version. Myself and a multi-billion-dollar company were arguing over a years-old multi-million-dollar business deal in court when they hit me with a contempt application. I didn't see it as a threat, I saw it as a chess move. In fact, any entrepreneurs here today will already know that when it comes to business, litigation is mainly used as a tool. Well, these guys are better prepared, my ego certainly didn't help, and they sold it to the judge who gave me 6 months as a civil prisoner 5 years ago, and I lost everything. My business went from 50 staff to 3 staff in days. I was left with hundreds of thousands in legal debt. It cost me my marriage, my home, everything. And because of errors in administration, I was kept unsegregated in the worst and most dangerous prison in the country. In fact, this is a picture of the actual wing that I spent 6 months on. Now, for many people, that may be justifiable cause for a bit of negative thinking. Guys, I had 50 trillion cells who are fully conditioned to sunshine, not rain. But they would not let me see what was happening as negative. And even if a dark cloud did appear on the mental horizon, it was soon sent away. And instead of getting scared or upset or angry, I got excited. I saw this as an incredible adventure, and I made a decision not to see myself as a prisoner, but instead a secret agent of change. And cut a long story short, I ended up getting many of the prisoners off drugs. I was stopping suicides. I redesigned the intake system to help reduce violence. Now being in prisons all over the world. I even won a national award for the work that I did. I don't tell you that to impress you. I tell it to impress upon you what is possible. But the times I felt depressed or scared, of course, I'm human. But at those moments, my body waged biochemical warfare, not against my potential, but against my fears and my doubts. Because of that, I was able to turn what happened into one of the most incredible and awe-inspiring adventures I've never had the privilege of living. And if you'd like to know more, here's that. Shameless book plug. Now, It's the actual 11 letters that I wrote from prison to my students. If you want to go check it out, it's called The Inside Track. Available, but all good online book things. Anyway, let me sum up this shift because it really is the secret weapon. First of all, guys, self-mastery begins with self-mastery. Why? Because like it or not, you are an adaptation machine. Your body is constantly adjusting to its outer environment, leading to biceps or triceps, but at the same time, your cells are constantly adjusting to their inner environment, or the weather caused by your habitual thinking, leading to swimsuits or stars. Next, once you've adapted, inertia builds up, which means your cells are then programmed to talk you out of change. Don't take it personally, just follow the rules. But that means, and listen carefully, if you do not learn how to recondition your cells, they will always send messages designed to readjust your thinking to their wardrobe. Let us sink in. Now, good news is that this works both ways. Because once you master this, you will literally have an army standing in your corner. One that is continually programmed to make and keep you successful, to help you stay smiling no matter what. That'll snap you out of fear or depression or anxiety or feeling unmotivated. Now, the obvious question is, how do you do that? Which brings us to shift number 4. Engage neural conditioning. Now, before I explain what it is and why it works so well with everybody, no matter what your history, no matter what shape your cells are in, no matter what environment you grew up in, let me first explain what makes people fail at this even before they start. Would you like to know that? So that you don't become one of them. Now, listen, 33 years of personal growth. And one thing's become very obvious is that all successful people, a lot of the billionaires I've worked with and had as business partners, a lot of the centimillionaires, a lot of the successful, not even financially, just I'm talking about successful people that understand the difference between success and life and fulfillment. These people train for the marathon, not the sprint. They play the longer time frame. They don't buy into what's become the biggest lie in personal growth, backed up by flashy marketing and false promises. That is the lie of the quick fix. And I get why people want it. You're in pain, you want to get out. You're poor, you want to be rich. You're overweight, you want to be slim. But there is no change my life in 20 seconds course, guys, and I can prove it by asking a simple question. Now, be honest. Do you know anybody who, in the history of the universe, who ever walked into a gym 20 pounds overweight and walked out ripped? No. You don't go to the gym once and get fit, you get sore. You know what? That's why many people never walk in at all. Because they're spending their life training for the sprint, quick fix, instead of the marathon. Now, ladies, attention back to me, please. I know it's hot. But every great musician, entrepreneur, or athlete knows the power of this. One of my heroes, long-term consistency trumps short-term intensity. Bang on. What does it mean when it comes to us? Well, let's break down the words engaged neural conditioning. Engaged means that whatever it is, it must be engaging enough to both catch and hold your attention and stop it from wandering. Yes, even you distraction experts, I just saw one of you check your phone. Come on, right? Otherwise, you're going to tune out and the impact's going to be zero. It'll end up some of the course that you brought and didn't finish. Neural means the activity has to be focused on retraining the brain to produce specific types of chemicals that signal the cells to upgrade their wardrobe. And now we get to the most important part, conditioning. You've got to get past the cell inertia. And a great analogy to explain this with, guys, is a compass. And that is because your mind is very similar to a compass needle, in the way that it has a default magnetic north, a place that you gravitate to, which, as we know for most people, is facing more towards negativity than positivity, more pointing towards lack than abundance, especially if you dial into mainstream media. Now, the good news is that by using our conscious mind, remember Anthony, we can actually grab hold of that compass needle consciously and point it in a different direction. Like, if you're feeling sad, you can decide to call a friend or go for a walk or watch a comedy. The problem is, we're only using our mind, our conscious mind, 5% of the time. 95% of the time, people are what I call sleeping awake. That's where our ant and our elephant, opposite directions, but our elephant is in charge, and we are operating out of preconditioned habit. And the second your ant takes his hand off of the needle, the compass is going to swing to his conditioned magnetic north. Is this making sense? Are you getting this? How do you change that? Any physics teacher will tell you to remagnetize a compass needle and change its polarity, you need to expose it to a stronger magnet. And then stroke it in the new direction over and over and over again. In other words, engaged neural conditioning is the process of reconditioning your current thoughts in a way where your ant and your elephant start finding marching in the same direction towards your success. And this cannot happen if you're focused on the quick fix, which is why when it comes to getting ultimate self-mastery, marathoners win and sprinters fail. But as we come to the end of the training soon, I'm going to show you the fastest proven way to break cell inertia good within 90 days. Give you a plan that will guarantee the next 12 months will be massively different. So, tell me you're understanding this, you're getting this, guys. I mean, can you imagine the difference that this is going to make in your life when you really put it into practice? Think about it. What would happen 12 months ago if you'd have made a decision to do this? Where would you be right now? By the way, that also ties in perfectly with the last of our 5 shifts. Commit to effective action. That kind of sound obvious, but the key is really knowing what kind of action is effective. Why? Because as we saw at the beginning, most people are busy as hell and broke. So let me give you another powerful insight to explain this. As human beings, we're like bicycles. If we're not going towards something with purpose and momentum, we lose balance and fall over. And you and I are wired exactly the same way. And the key words here are purpose and momentum. Because without that, you fall in flat on your face in Groundhog Day. And if you don't take my word for it, look around. Just become a keen observer of people who are up to something and walking around on purpose. There's a different spark and energy around. But nowhere do I see that more often than those who mastered what I've shared with you today. If you think that taking the same action that you've been taking up to this point, or trying some quick fix or new program, is going to produce a different result, you're in fantasy land, guys. And it's always nice to daydream about unicorns and rainbows and a nice new Ferrari you want or whatever it is. But at some point, if you don't take action on what you've learned today, your inertia will take back over. You're going to be back at square one. Anybody want that? No, I don't want it for you either. But I also care enough about you to tell it to you straight. Because for some of you, today may be the kick in the butt that you need. Now, I also know that you have what it takes. Otherwise, you wouldn't have shown up here today. Unlike those people who registered in the 10th. Why? Because they were too busy being busy. Okay, let's summarize, because you guys are doing absolutely awesome. Now, today, I made you a promise. I said that you're going to discover aspects of success and personal growth most people go to their grave never knowing. You're going to find out the real reason why people fail and why it's got nothing to do with what skills or knowledge they learn. How to stop getting in your own way and finding escaping Groundhog Day, and why over 95% of the money you spend in self-help is never going to produce results you're looking for. So here's a final recap of what you need to win. 1. Self-mastery beats knowledge mastery all day long. Unless you want to stay busy, smart, and broke. Never be fooled or distracted otherwise. Guys, this is so foundational to your success. In fact, if you were caught napping on this earlier or showed up late, let me explain it one final time so you can really get the importance of it. People are not overweight because they eat too much. That's what the diet industry wants to convince you. Why? Because diets don't work, so you keep going to try the next one. No, people are overweight because they haven't mastered their relationship to food. Just as, listen carefully, some of you need to hear this, people are not in debt because they don't earn enough money. That's just BS. They're in debt because they haven't mastered their relationship to food. That's why, until you buy into making self-mastery your first priority, diets are never going to work, online courses will become more data for later, and money-making opportunities, no matter how good they are or sound, will not increase your net worth because your unconscious will always find ways for it to slip through your fingers. Which release your subconscious brakes. These are our blind spots. So guys, find a coach, find a program that can uncover these specifically and solve that. Because if you don't, you're always going to be running off hidden beliefs that limit you.